Okay, hello there, thank you, and welcome. And we are QTime, and our product is about providing a new, efficient way of ordering waiting times in A&E hospitals. So what's the current problem with waiting areas in hospitals? Well, when you arrive, you're waiting there and you have no visibility on how long you're going to be waiting for. You could be seen in 20 minutes, you could be seen in 2 hours. You simply have to wait until you're told. And there tends to be no queue system already present. What we want to do with QTime is introduce a new system which will solve a lot of the issues that the NHS currently has. So with the current platform, when you arrive at hospital, you register at the registration desk. You will be seen by a triage nurse who will determine the seriousness of your situation, and then you will wait, and you'll possibly wait for quite a long time. You won't know how long, and then eventually you'll see a doctor and be discharged. The difference with our system is that when you turn up at the waiting area and you go to reception, you are immediately given an ID number, which will identify you in our system. So then when you see the triage nurse, she'll identify how important your case is, and that will determine how far up or down the queue list you are going to be. Then when you're in the waiting area, instead of having no idea of how long you're going to be waiting, you will in fact have an accurate prediction of the time that you will be spending there. Now with this system, we've carefully designed this to try and make it as simple as possible for the patient, and also have all the depth that the NHS need to ensure that they have all analytics about waiting time, treatment time at different times of the day, week, month, and so on, so they can analyze all of this data. And what we have with the system is it's fully anonymized, so you're only recognized by your own ID number, which you're given at reception, and also there's no particular order to the list, so you're avoiding the perception of having a one-in, one-out system, because that's not how A&Es operate. They do have to operate on a needs basis and not a first-come, first-served basis. So also in the back end, we have a lot of information that QTime will be able to generate, and we will be able to provide this to the NHS, so they will be able to analyze their own pain points and find out at what times they're doing better and what times they're doing worse, and what things they can do to change, like shift patterns, training, and so on. So what are the key outcomes out of using QTime? Well, the first thing is that you greatly improve the customer experience. And this is a very important thing, because we noticed that in the NHS's 3-year plan, out of the 11 points, key point 6, scorecard 6, is increasing the patient's experience, improving that. And also, we know that when asked, 59% of clinicians who work in hospitals said that the best way to improve their working environment would be through providing more information to the patient, and QTime does exactly that. Another key outcome is in cost. By having more people more informed on what is happening in the waiting room, they are going to be less stressed, they are going to be more calm, and this will avoid a lot of the aggression, interruption, and other behaviours which cost the NHS an estimated, here in Glasgow, 1.3 million per year. And finally, we also can use this data to try and improve meeting the 4-hour national waiting target. So what data have we used to build this so far? Well, we've looked at a lot of existing historical data to try and get a picture of how our system would work. This includes data from the Open Future City Network, from the NHS as well, and also bearing in mind that our own system will generate its own data, and it will use machine learning to take all of this information and constantly improve the predictions it gives to people in the waiting area of their time. In terms of implementing this system, now, as anyone who has any experience of hospitals know, the management system for hospitals are complex, and we understand this. That's why this system has been designed from the beginning to be as friction-free as possible. We do not add any further touch points than the ones that already exist. So also, there is very little clinician time required. It's basically a 2-click system, and it would be very straightforward to implement. It can sit atop the existing systems. We also know that we're looking forward to the next steps, and that means building a prototype which can actually analyze and use this data and start using this in real time. And thirdly, to then test this product, because with any queuing system, one of the challenges is understanding the behavioral elements to the queuing system, and the best way to do that is by doing trials in a controlled environment, and that is something that QTime is looking forward to. So what we have with QTime is a very simple, very effective system to ensure that individuals can have a better prediction of how long they are going to be in a waiting area, thus reducing their anxiety, reducing their stress, and leading to a better experience for them, and also data for a better experience for the NHS. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Q time. Questions from our judges? Oh, yeah. Here you are, Chris. There you go.
There's been a recent study done by, I think it was the Royal College down in London, which basically said providing people with staged information about the treatment so that they understand the duration from point to point in it reduces violence in waiting areas an awful lot. But actually the other thing you need is distraction. And I'm kind of curious about how you think this can do more than just sort data.
Well, I think that the key thing, if you talk to patients who have experience of going to A&E, they may be injured themselves, or they may be with a loved one who is injured, and it's a very stressful experience. And one of the biggest causes of stress is anxiety, and anxiety from not knowing what is going to happen. And if you talk anecdotally to people, you do hear time and time again that the main problem was not the time that they had to wait, but the fact that they didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know when they were going to be seen. And that's the key issue that we want to address, and we think that will make a big difference to the experience for patients.
Very good. Have you thought about how perhaps it would work, the UI for the clinician, if there's a patient and it's going to be taking longer, how they're going to feed that back in without it being something that's difficult for them, and then how aggressive is someone going to get when their 5-minute wait suddenly turns into a half hour, simply because of a genuine patient issue that has arisen with the one who's being looked at now?
So there's two good questions there. The first one then is about implementation on the physician side, and it's very important that it has as low friction as possible, and that's why we've combined it with the existing touch points. So you'd only be inputting data, for example, when a patient goes to reception, when they would be doing it anyway, when they see the triage nurse, when they would be doing it anyway, when they see the doctor, when they would be doing it anyway, and when they're discharged, again, when they would be doing it anyway. So we're not adding an extra burden, and the actual process of putting in information is just selecting a few categories. It would be quite straightforward. Yes, absolutely. And to come on to the second question about the kind of more behavioural issues, it is a complex problem, and it's one that needs more research, because currently the kind of queue systems that have been trialled in hospitals have been ones which go on a first come, first served basis, a kind of a simple queue. These don't work because that's not how these systems work.
Just conscious of your time, so Don?
How close did you get to a prototype? And the reason I ask that is I think that from the questions you've responded to here, you have some of the answers. I'm just curious as to why you didn't take it at one stage further, adopting a little bit of an agile approach and having something that we could see in terms of a screenshot. Were you close to that?
Well, basically, the complexity of the issue is, I think, too great to really be achieved within 48 hours. However, we do believe that we could build a prototype within about 2 to 3 weeks. And it's something that we are definitely been looking forward to, and we've done some analysis of machine learning and other aspects that would be part of this.
Thank you. Q time.
Thank you.